All right, so today we're going to help you guys crush those actuary interviews. We're doing a deep dive on how to make your answers really stand out.
Hmm.
We're dissecting this awesome YouTube video by Joshua Brown from How'd He Become.
Yeah, he's great.
He gets into like the nitty-gritty of what makes an answer shine.
It's true, and he really digs into the why, the psychology behind it all.
Which is so important and easy to overlook, like just thinking about what the interviewer is actually looking for.
Totally. And that's crucial in any field, but especially when you're going for something as detail-oriented as, like, actuarial science.
For sure, they're going to be analyzing your every word.
Right.
And speaking of analyzing, Brown talks about nailing that classic tell me about yourself opener.
Oh, that one's huge.
It's so easy to just ramble on about your resume, but he's like, hold up, this is your moment.
It is. Think of it like you're an actuary assessing risk, right?
Yeah.
What's the biggest risk here? Making a bad first impression.
That's such a good analogy.
Right. So you got to manage that risk. And you do that by showcasing, boom, exactly what makes you a perfect fit.
And he emphasizes that this is not the time to talk about your cat or your stamp collection.
Unless it's like statistically improbable stamp collection, maybe.
Aha, exactly. You want to zone in on your skills and experiences that directly relate to the job description.
Which brings us to, like, treat that job description like it's a treasure map.
I love that. It's so true.
Or we'll just skim them. But Brown's saying, like, no, dissect it. Underline those keywords.
Because that attention to detail, that's what they're looking for.
Absolutely. It's proof you can analyze and prioritize.
Exactly.
And speaking of proof, Brown says when you use those keywords from the job description, don't just say you have the skill, back it up.
Show, don't tell. Right.
Yes. Like he's got this example. Let's say the job description wants someone who's analytical and has strong communication abilities.
You're going to use those exact words.
Use those words, but don't just say, I'm analytical. Follow up with concrete evidence. I'm highly analytical, as evidenced by my work on Project X, where I had to analyze Y, and it led to Z, positive outcome.
Ooh, I like it. You got the proof right there.
Exactly. You've shown them, not just told them.
It's like saying you're a great cook versus like showing up with a Michelin star meal.
Exactly. And in a data-driven field like actuarial science, that kind of concrete evidence is key.
Absolutely. Now, here's something interesting. Brown doesn't just focus on those hard skills, the math stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He also stresses the importance of showcasing those soft skills, which some people might not expect.
Right. They think it's all about the numbers.
But when you think about what actuaries actually do, it makes sense.
Totally. They have to communicate complex data to people who aren't experts.
Which needs some serious communication skills.
For sure.
He specifically mentions communication, adaptability, and continuous learning as key soft skills that interviewers are looking for.
And, just a little aside here for anyone listening, even if you're not interviewing for an actuary position just yet,
These are good to have.
these soft skills are, like, foundational to success, regardless of your field.
I totally agree. So pay attention, folks. This is valuable stuff for everyone, no matter where you are in your career journey.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It was like you're telling a story,
That's
right?
right.
You've got your skills, but you need to weave them into a narrative. And that's where this STAR method comes in.
Oh, yeah, the STAR method. It sounds kind of intense, like a superhero training program or something.
Uh-huh. Kinda. It stands for situation, task, action, result, and reflection.
Okay, I'm following so far.
So you start with the situation, like setting the scene.
Gotcha, like the once upon a time of your answer.
Exactly. Then you introduce the task, what you were actually responsible for.
Yeah.
What were you trying to achieve? Then comes the action. What did you actually do to tackle that task?
This is where you get to brag a little, right? Like really showcase your skills in action.
Exactly. Don't be shy. Get specific. Talk about the steps you took, what you were thinking, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so you've set the scene, outlined the task, and described your awesome actions. What's next?
The result. What happened? What was the outcome of all your hard work?
Hopefully a positive one.
Right. Ideally, yeah, you want to end on a high note.
Makes sense. Oh, and you said there was one more piece? Reflection, right?
Ah, yes. The reflection. This is where Brown gets really excited, and for good reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's what takes your answer from good to great.
So, like, what did you learn from the experience?
Exactly. It shows you're not just task-oriented, you're growth-oriented. You're
Yeah.
thinking critically about your work and always trying to improve.
And that's something any employer would love, right? Someone
Yeah.
who's always looking to level up.
Oh, absolutely. It shows initiative, a desire to learn, all that good stuff.
Okay, so we've got the theory down, but how does this actually play out in an interview?
Well, Brown gives a great example using the question, describe a time when you had to manage conflicting priorities.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I feel like that's every day in the working world.
Right, and it's something they love to throw at you in interviews. So Brown uses the STAR method to break down how he handled juggling a financial report for senior management and a detailed analysis for a key client, both with insane deadlines.
Sounds stressful.
Right. But he lays it all out. How he assessed the urgency of each task, communicated with everyone involved, created a timeline, and boom, delivered both projects on time and to a high standard.
That's impressive, and it shows how the STAR method can help you highlight those problem-solving skills and your ability to stay calm under pressure.
Which, let's be real, is huge EE in the actuarial world.
For sure. Speaking of pressure, how do you handle those questions about, like, disagreeing with a coworker? That always seems like a potential minefield.
Oh, absolutely. You want to show you can stand up for yourself, but you don't want to come off as difficult or anything.
Right. It's a delicate balance.
It is.
Yeah.
And Brown nails it. He really emphasizes constructive communication.
So it's not about winning the argument.
Yeah. No, not at all. It's about finding the best solution for the team and the project.
Okay, so how does he recommend handling that kind of question in an interview?
He uses the STAR method again, with an example about disagreeing with a colleague on the best way to analyze a data set.
Which is super relevant for actuarial work. I mean, there are often multiple ways to approach a problem, right?
Oh, exactly. It's all about finding the most effective one. So in his example, he talks about respectfully presenting his perspective, using data to support his reasoning, but also actively listening to his colleague's point of view.
It's like, it's not about being right. It's about finding the best solution, even if it means admitting you might be wrong.
Exactly. And he sneaks in that data-driven mindset, which is like music to an interviewer's ears in this field, you know?
Subtle but effective.
Right. It shows you're objective, willing to listen, but ultimately driven by the data.
I like it. Now let's talk about something that I think trips a lot of people up. Asking questions at the end of the interview.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
People forget how important that part is.
Yeah, it's easy to just go on autopilot and be like, no questions, I think I'm good.
Right, but it's such a missed opportunity.
Totally. Brown actually says that asking thoughtful questions at the end can really leave a lasting impression.
Oh, absolutely. It
Mhm.
shows you're engaged, you're listening, you're already thinking ahead.
It's like you're flipping the script, showing them you're not just a candidate, you're a future colleague.
Exactly.
So what kind of questions should we be asking? Not the generic ones, right?
No. Ditch those.
Mhm.
Come prepared with a few specific questions based on your research, or even something that came up during the interview itself.
Okay, I like that.
Like, you could ask about the company's approach to professional development, or maybe mention a specific project that you read about that aligns with your
Lots.
interests.
So you're showing them you've done your homework and you're serious about contributing.
Exactly. It's all about showing that initiative.
Now, there's one more thing I want to touch on from Brown's video that I thought was super insightful. He talks about the importance of preparation, but not just like memorizing answers, but getting into the right headspace, you know?
Oh, I love that, because
Yeah.
it's not just about what you know, it's how you think.
Exactly. And he talks about reflecting on your experiences, both professional and personal, and pinpointing times when you had to assess and manage risk.
Which is SO key for aspiring actuaries.
Absolutely. I mean, it's in the job description, right? Risk assessment is their bread and butter.
Right. But what's cool is Brown says you can use examples from any area of your life to show off those skills.
So it's not just about work experience, it's about your thought process.
Exactly. How did you identify the risk? What factors did you consider? How did you handle it?
It's like showing them you've got that actuarial mindset, even in everyday situations.
Precisely. And guess what comes in handy again?
The STAR method.
Ding, ding, ding. Think back to a time you had to make a tough call, even if it wasn't at work. Maybe you spotted a potential issue in a group project, or you anticipated a logistical nightmare during an event you were planning.
And then, bam, you use the STAR method to turn that everyday experience into a shining example of your actuarial thinking.
Exactly. See, this is what makes this deep dive so awesome. We're not just giving you tips, we're giving you the tools to absolutely crush it.
We're arming you with the knowledge and the confidence to go out there and own those interviews.
Yes, own it.
But at the end of the day, the best advice is to just be yourself.
Couldn't agree more.
Brown mentions that interviewers can spot a canned response from a mile away.
Oh yeah, they can smell it.
What really makes an impression is when you're genuine, when you can speak passionately about your experiences, your skills, what drives you.
It's all about connecting, letting your personality shine through.
Because they're not just interviewing your resume, they're interviewing